This isn't a video about the genetic tests you can buy online to find out if you're descended from Vikings. That's genetics. And yes, genomics is part of genetics, but it's the ultra-advanced part that's currently making big waves. It can do way cooler things than just tell you where your ancestors come from. It can even help out sectors like farming and conservation if you're a farmer. Number 1, let's define genomics by stating that it is the study of all DNA in an organism. This includes everything that is alive, including fruit flies, rice plants, and humans. Genomic research reads the 3 billion base pairs in human DNA, which are the minuscule bits of code that help explain how we are put together. Genomic research is a subfield of biotechnology, which you can learn more about by watching our video on the top 10 reasons the biotech sector is booming. Genomic research received a major boost in 2003 when scientists were able to decode every base pair in human DNA. Number 2, it's anticipated to double in size over the next 5 years. The industry has increased in value 5 times over the past 10 years as a result of the numerous medical advancements it has contributed to, including the vaccines for COVID last year, and it is expected to continue to grow significantly. About $23 billion were invested in the genomics sector in 2020, and Markets.com forecasts that amount will more than double by 2025 to $54 billion, which means, first of all, third, it appears to be the next big thing for investors. You probably haven't heard as much about genomics, which is unfortunate because it's poised to be the next big thing. You already know about Tesla and its electric cars, which have been popular for a while, as well as cryptocurrency wallets, which have also been popular for a while. Just listen to Cathie Wood, founder and CEO of ARK Investments. She predicts that the genetics sector will provide the largest upside surprises over the next years, and Forbes has listed it as one of the 5 hypergrowth industries to watch. Number 4, it's revolutionizing medicine. So what is it already doing for us? If you search for genomic sequencing online, you'll find a ton of businesses where you can send a sample of saliva or blood for lab analysis. A few weeks or months later, you receive your entire genome sequence, which is essentially your entire unique DNA code. Of course, most of us won't actually understand any of it, but you can show it to a doctor who's qualified. This is why we're seeing such a major genomics revolution. It's making medicine much more accurate and allowing doctors to see exactly what's gone wrong instead of depending on so much guessing, which is quite usual in traditional medicine, but not here. Number 5, Emmanuel Carpentier and Jennifer Dondi, who worked on a breakthrough in CRISPR gene editing technology, received the 2020 Nobel Prize for Chemistry. If that didn't make sense, gene editing basically means that scientists can now target specific regions of bad genes and replace them with better ones in humans. They're hoping it'll completely eradicate a lot of serious diseases, including cancer. Number 6, you can have your genome sequenced for less than $1,000. When DNA sequencing first became available in 2003, it cost a cool $3 billion. Today, it costs a tiny fraction of that and is below the $1,000 mark. According to ARK Management Investment, these costs will continue to decline by 28% annually for the next 10 years. National Human Genome Research Institute experts also predict that PR will soon reach $1,500. 7th, a single blood test can detect 50 different types of cancer courtesy to a California-based biotech business called Grail. They've been introducing the Gallery blood test this year, and among the backers are luminaries like Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates. The new test, which is still in the experimental phase but already appears to be rewriting the rules for cancer testing, uses just 2 test tubes of a patient's blood to detect 50 different types of cancer before any symptoms have ever appeared. Number 8, AI is advancing genomics. Last year, a Google artificial intelligence program called DeepMind figured out the 3D shape of protein structures in DNA. Why does anyone need to know what the 3D shape of proteins look like? Well, for those of us who don't have a PhD in biotechnology, let's keep it simple, knowing this little tidbit could change the way we think about how genes work. Number 9. The genomics sector has its own Google. Now that you are aware with the major players in the genomics market, let's start with Illumina. By far the biggest gene sequencing company in the world, Illumina is valued at $73 billion and controls 80% of the market for gene sequencing technologies. They also developed the Holy Grail, which can test for 50 different types of cancer from a single blood sample back in 2016 before selling it and then repurchasing it this year. Number 10. Even if Illumina was far in advance when it comes to gene sequencing, there are a ton of other areas of genomics to keep an eye out for, such as CRISPR Therapeutics and Intellia Therapeutics, which specialize in gene editing. 10x with regard to optical genome mapping and technology, Genomics are experts in single cells and spatial analysis of biological systems. Of course, there are a few companies you've probably heard of in the last year or so, such as Moderna and BioNTech, but we'll talk more about them in a moment. Number 11. It has its own Silicon Valley, much like the computing industry, and Home Genomics has been establishing its own neighborhood on the other side of the United States in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where Moderna is based and a lot of other genomic startups are joining the club. It is conveniently located next to MIT and Harvard, so it goes without saying that you need some pretty high-powered scientific credentials to get a job in this industry. 12. Despite all the positive press about how exciting this field is, we hate to ruin the fun, but think twice before investing all of your money in the first genomics firm that pops up on your radar. Keep in mind that investing in genomics companies is very risky because, before any genomics company makes a breakthrough, it must first invest tens or hundreds of millions of dollars and then conduct trials. If those trials don't go as planned, a company can quickly fall from the top of the heap to bankruptcy. It is true that the sector is growing due to some breakthroughs by a few companies, but only 1 in 6 companies on the Nasdaq Biotech Index did so last year. When Illumina repurchased Grail earlier this year for $7 billion, they didn't wait for regulators in North America and Europe to give the go-ahead. As a result, we can expect to hear more about this case in the business news and more from regulators wanting to breach their obligations to the public. Number 13. They are also facing trustbusters. Traditionally, only specialized investors have made investments in genomics companies. However, in the past year or so, Moderna and BioNTech have made a major splash with vaccines for COVID, and now everyone is attending the party, which may increase the sector's volatility. Number 14. After the release of stealth vaccines, more people are investing in the past. Only specialized investors have bought shares in genomics businesses. However, in the past year or two, Moderna and BioNTech have made a major splash with their COVID vaccines, and now everyone is jumping on board, which may increase the sector's volatility. Number 15. Genomics aids in conservation as well. Finally, it appears that genomics will benefit more than just humans. Hopefully, it will also benefit other species, such as endangered species, which conservationists working with these animals can use DNA samples from to identify biodiversity hotspots, create conservation areas, and improve their chances of survival in China. Alright everyone, since you stayed with us until the end, you know you're getting a bonus. Do you think you're likely to invest in genomics companies? If so, why or why not? Share your opinions with us in the comments. True, not everyone wants to live forever, and you could argue that we shouldn't, but let's not get into that discussion right now, including the overpopulation issues it would cause. However, for decades scientists have been looking for ways to avoid issues with old age and extend life indefinitely, and genomics is already showing us signs it could do just that. In China earlier this year, scientists came up with a method to extend life indefinitely. If you liked today's video, kindly click the like button. To ensure you never miss an upload, click the bell symbol and don't forget to subscribe.